Morning and welcome back to the Hyundai Kona Electric. Now you may be wondering, what on earth am I doing in this car again? Because I've reviewed it quite a lot recently and I've always come to the same conclusion, which is it's a great car, but it's just too small for me and my family. But then I started to think, well, every car that I can afford is going to be compromised in some way. There's something that's going to have to give. And am I being fair to judge this car on a 3 or 4 hour test drive when actually I need to get my family in here? I need to have it for a period of time and make an informed decision. So with that in mind, I've got it for 3 days now. I'm going to do all the stuff we do as a family and use this car solely as our main vehicle and see whether those compromises are something that we could really live with. This video is sponsored by Just EVs, a family-run company with the largest selection of battery electric vehicles available with free UK delivery. They now also offer EV rentals. Have a look at justevs.co.uk and don't forget to mention EV Opinion for a free annual service. Now, I think it's only fair to warn you at this point that this is not going to be a review per se of this car. If you want to have a look at the full review, then go down to the description below and I will link to where I did that, and also links to where I compared it to an e-Niro and a Nissan Leaf. What this video is about is to see whether my family, so it's me, my wife, my 2 children, they're 9 and 7 years old, can live with this car, and has it got growing room for us? Can we use it for the next 5 years, let's say, as they get bigger? Now let me put you in the picture as to where I am with this car so far. It's a cracking car, the range is incredible on it. It's the inside, I find the materials aren't premium, they're okay, there's nothing wrong with them, but they're not exceptional. But the build quality is very, very good. This does feel like it's going to last. I like the cabin, I like the layout. I think it looks very much a car of today. It's an SUV. There's nothing flash about it. There's nothing overly exciting about it as a car. Forget the electric side of it. It's just a good sturdy car, and very much the type of car that people and small families are buying in their droves at the moment. So I'm impressed with it. I just need to know that it could fit with my family. Well, let's start off with my children, and I've picked them up from school in it already, and let's go and have a look at what their initial reaction was to it.
Okay, now.
How about that one? Should we try that one today?
Not as good as the Cadillac.
Not as good, no.
Is this electric?
Yeah. What do you think of it?
Ooh, interesting. I like the colour of it.
Right. What colour do you think it is?
It's like an orangey red.
It is, isn't it? And if you see it in the sun,
Yeah.
it's all glittery.
Yeah.
Do you think you've got more room or less room than in our car?
Less.
In our Leaf, yeah?
Yeah, less.
You think there's less room than the Leaf?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. What do you think, Thomas?
Less.
Okay.
Because I can feel the chairs with my feet, and in the Leaf I can't do that. Like, you look at it from the outside and it all looks really good, and then you get in it and it's not actually that great.
So which bits do you not think are that great?
Well, there's not much feet space from the back because when I put my feet down on the floor, they're going under the chair.
Okay, anything else?
And it's all quite squashed together.
What about the rest of it? What do you think it just looks like inside?
It just looks like a normal car.
Yeah? Is that not a good thing?
No, because like when you're doing cars, you need them to be exciting, and this car's not exciting. It's just a bit boring.
No, fair enough. Can't like every car, can you?
No.
I think it's fair to say my children have been somewhat spoilt over the last few months. The last time I picked them up from school, it was in a Model X, and they, well, let's just say they've got ideas above their station, way above their station. But they made 2 really interesting comments, I think, in that. The first was that this Kona is a bit, well, I think they said a bit boring. It's not very exciting. Yes, to a child, I understand that, especially, like we say, when you come from those gull wing doors on a Model X. But I actually see that as a positive, because For a long time we said what we want is electric vehicles that are just like any other car. We don't want them to be any different. It just happens that they don't pollute the atmosphere and we don't have to rely on fossils that we pull out the ground. So that's a good thing, isn't it? Because that's what people want. That's what's going to increase the sales of electric vehicles. So to be a bit boring and a bit plain, well, actually, this is, as I said before, just a car of the moment. This is what people want to buy at the moment. The second comment they made was around the space in the back. And they said it felt a little bit tight. And when I asked them how that compared to the Leaf, they said it actually feels smaller back there than our Gen 1 Nissan Leaf, which, again, when you look at it, it's not a lot different, but if they're noticing it, then there must be a little bit less room there, and it's something that you have to take into consideration because, like I said before, this is a compromise, and is this a compromise that we as a family are willing to make? Okay, that's enough of me prattling on about the inside of this car for now. Let's go and speak to my wife Sarah, because if we buy it, this would be a family car and she would be in it and driving it just as much as me. So I think it's important to find out what she thinks. So this is your first time in a Kona of any description, isn't it?
Yeah.
What do you reckon? First, literally just got in, 30 seconds, what do you think?
A bit different.
Okay, why?
It feels a bit boxy, doesn't it? It's really high here. It's okay. I like the big screen,
Yeah.
but the camera wasn't great.
Well, the reversing camera.
Yeah, the reversing camera wasn't great compared to the Leaf, which is, and our Leaf's quite old now.
Yeah.
So this is a newer model, isn't it? I feel like I'm in like some sort of cabin though, because it's very high here, isn't it?
This bit here, this
Yeah.
raised bit, in the petrol and diesel ones, it's not in there because they've got the gear stick.
Yeah.
So what they've done is they put this raised bit in, and then if you look underneath, there's a big hole.
So what if you're in a car park and somebody's parked next to you and you can't open your door, or for whatever reason you've got to climb over?
And you would choose your car based on whether you
in a
can climb
skirt.
over. I would suggest that's probably safer than having a gear stick. What do you reckon?
I'm just looking at it thinking, I don't know that. I'll have to give it a go.
You don't know if you could get your leg over the centre console. Is that what you're saying?
And in that case, I'm not buying the car. Yeah, I feel it is. I'm with Annabelle. It feels small.
Yeah.
I think this is making it feel small, and also because it's high here, then that's sort of up
Yeah.
there as well.
What about the materials? What do you think of those?
They're all right. They're a bit plasticky, aren't they?
Well, I think so. Yeah. But that said, it's quiet, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely quiet.
So it's not making any rattles or squeaks or anything.
No, that's absolutely fine. It feels quite smooth. I think it looks better from the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. That said, I've not had a proper look at it because I just got surprised when it was on the drive this morning. Right, ready? Take my shoes off. That's a bit high!
Oh, very ladylike.
I want to try.
Ow!
There you go. Easy.
I want to try.
It's really interesting from her point of view that she. Is that one of those electric Konas? Oh yeah, it's a Kona. Yeah, I got it from Just EVs. They've started renting them, so they've got a couple of these and a few others.
All right. Sorry, I didn't realise you were
Yeah.
video. Sorry about that.
Yeah, you should give them a call. Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, that's fine. Take care. It's all right. It's ruined my shot. What an odd-looking bloke. Well, there you go. There's my wife's idea of what makes a good car or not. But in all of that, what came through there for me was the fact that she said that there was nothing really exciting about the car. There was nothing that got her really interested or she found particularly different or unusual about it. But at the same time, she was unable to criticise it in any way. Okay, she talked about the lack of space, but beyond that, she found it very difficult to give any comment about anything that wasn't right. And she said to me afterwards, she said, it's just, I found it difficult to find anything at all to talk about. And I know what she means, and I see that as actually quite a positive, because at the end of the day, what do we want out of our cars? We want something that's safe, reliable, easy to drive, and completely uneventful. That's why we pay a decent amount of money to buy a decent car that we can drive day in, day out. Yeah, of course there's going to be people that want flash things and something different, but the vast majority of people want this. This is why these cars sell in their droves, and that's why these cars are so popular. So with that in mind, and a little bit of criticism I've had in the past from some of the comparison videos that I've done, I want to wrap this up by just, well, putting something right, because in some of those comparison videos I have spoken about the boot space and I've criticised it, and I've said that it's just not big enough for a family of 4. Well, I've had lots of comments from people saying, actually, did you know that you can drop the boot down and you can make it bigger? So in the interest of fairness, what I want to do is revisit that, drop the boot down, and let's go and do that suitcase test again and see if it actually creates enough room to get those cases in. So in this boot, what you find is, well, a flat floor. This can be lifted up, and underneath here, there's this polystyrene shelf. That can actually be removed, and then this shelf can be pulled and slotted down. So what it does is it gives you a lower floor. It's probably, I don't know, maybe 2 inches, but what it does, it has a slope at the back, so it has dropped. But let's see how these suitcases fit in here. So I'm going to try and do it exactly the same way as I've done it before when they didn't fit. So there's our big one. It's difficult to slide it all the way to the back because obviously of that lump at the back. There's a slightly softer one on top. And this one down the side. Now, as before, that parcel shelf is going to get in the way, so I'm going to have to remove that. And then, if I bring the boot down slowly, it touches there. Or do you know, I could force that closed. Let's just have a look. It's this bag that's catching now. Let's just remove that a minute. In fact, I wonder if I stand that up. There you go, stand it up, it's in. So that boot will fit those bags if you take all those pieces out, and it's not the end of the world. It's a reasonable sized boot. It's not too bad at all. So that brings us on to the end really, and the only thing I haven't spoken about at all up until now is range and efficiency of this vehicle. Now before I tell you the figures, just very briefly, I don't drive electric vehicles in any way, shape or form to preserve the energy. I'm not interested in trying to eke out as much range as possible. What I want to do is give you a fair comparison. So I always drive electric cars like I'd drive a nice car, because at the end of the day, if we want the mass populace to transfer across to electric vehicles, they have to be comparable to a petrol or a diesel car. So there's no point in fudging the figures for you. These are the true figures that I found driving it the same way I'd drive any other car. Now, I haven't been on a motorway, so it hasn't had a prolonged period of high-speed driving, but I've done mainly town driving, lots of spirited, shall we say, A and B road driving, and a little bit of dual carriageway driving. And in that time, the figures that I have come up with are, I've done a total of 209 miles. I've got 78 miles left of range in the car, so that's 267 miles for a charge. I'm absolutely blown away with that. I've got to be honest, I was hoping to get near 250. Considering I haven't been particularly careful, and we're looking at 4.5 miles per kilowatt hour. To put that into context for you, my Leaf, this time of year, and we're in the 20s every day and much into the evenings as well, so the battery's good at the moment, I will get 4.1 miles per kilowatt hour. I've had the aircon on full blast the whole time I've had this, for the whole 4 days. So to get 4.5 miles per kilowatt hour, and actually that just changed down as I arrived here today, that's been sitting about 4.6. But that kind of mileage, without trying to take any care of it whatsoever, well, this is comparable now to an ICE car, isn't it? Because how often are you going to do that mileage in a day and not then go home and plug it in at the end of the day? It's phenomenal. It's blowing my mind. And as a car for me to buy, well, do you know what? It's still all about compromise, isn't it? And the big things that I found from my family were the immediate comments about the size in the back and how much room they've got inside. For a car of this value, maybe that's a compromise too far for me and my family. But that, you know, that doesn't matter to you. That's my own personal choice. These cars will come down in value, of course they will, but in the meantime, for me, it's elsewhere. For you, I'm hoping that this kind of look has given you an idea of whether maybe it's right for you. Maybe you can take some of the pros or cons that I've found over the last few days and put them into your own circumstances and work it out. Because, you know, if I was on my own, this car would be absolutely brilliant and I would buy it in a heartbeat. But I've got more than myself to think about now. So that's my views. But there we are. That's it for now. Hopefully you've enjoyed that video. Hopefully it's taught you something new about the Kona and help you make a decision maybe one way or the other. If you've enjoyed it, remember to like and share. If you're not doing so already, subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support me, have a look at the Patreon link below. But that's it. Thanks ever so much. Till next time, you take care.